Welcome back to 843 TV. We now have the pleasure to be joined by John Strother, who's the broker in charge here at Spring Island Real Estate. John, thanks for being with us.
I'm happy to be here.
It's always a pleasure to be here, I'll tell you that. And where we're at today is pretty unique. There's a saltwater pond behind us. Tell us about that. Is that unique? Are there more of these around the island? Tell us a little bit about it.
Now, these are just wonderful environments. We have 3 of these salt ponds. This is called Otter Pond, we have Shrimp Pond, and then we have the Great Salt Pond, which is really huge. We just got finished refurbishing that. But we have 3 of these on the island, stocked with redfish and flounder and crabs. And
all sounds very yummy.
It's really a fisherman's dream. And we're sitting on a dike right now that separates the Carlton River and Spring Island, you know, from us. And this is also a horseback riding trail, walking trail, trail bike riding, you know, bicycling. It's just a fantastic.
It's not a bad view.
Yeah. No, it isn't. It's
what a nice amenity to have in your backyard, a pond stocked with all those great fish.
Oh, I know.
And
it's
the trails here.
Just amazing. It's like a seafood market. And so we have 3 of these, 32 of the freshwater ponds that are managed for, you know, bass and
those are stocked as well?
Yes.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, fishing's a big part of the island. And then we have 32 miles of these trails.
And so if you didn't live right here, you could still come here and fish, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite spots on the island.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Well, speaking of beautiful, let's highlight obviously one of the most important parts of the island, which is the real estate.
Yes.
Tell everybody a little bit about 271 Spring Island Drive.
Oh, that's, you know, a lot of times we'll have the big houses here, and that's a cottage. It's a small cottage. It was designed by Peter Brower. He's a local architect. He actually lives here in Spring Island, BRZ Architecture. He's done a lot of homes here. And it's a small little red cottage with a corrugated tin roof, you know, and it was originally designed as a weekend home, and people started spending more time here, so they added on to it. But it has so many neat features. You go in, it's just this great space, fireplace, beams across the ceiling, opens into a really great screen-in porch with just this mood lighting around. You walk out of that into an outdoor shower. It's a really nice outdoor shower. I love that. Small kitchen, because it was designed as a second home. It has a copper sink and a wood counter. And then the nice thing is they added on to it, they added a pantry, a butler's pantry, and a master suite, and a garage. So you go down there, and the hallway is a gallery, what we call a gallery. And there are a lot of those here. You know, you don't go through hallways that are dark, but you have windows to one side, and they open into the different
Because there's so
things.
much natural sunlight in almost all of these houses. They're all positioned perfectly to where the sun rises and sets. But obviously there's plenty to look at out here, so you want to see where you're at.
Yeah, and you're always exposed, and then we have the nature curtains around the home site, so, you know, it's just, you want to bring the outdoors in. And they have a wonderful fire pit out there. It's a 3-acre site, and it's $695, and we've had a lot of interest in that, and I think we have an offer on it now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about it every time. I mean, an architecture professor could come here and teach a class just by going through these neighborhoods, because I mean the unique designs and the thought that goes into every single one of these buildings is just fantastic.
When it's diverse, that's what I always, I know I say that every time, but that's what I love about it. Every house is unique.
Yeah.
They don't look like little cookie cutters. Well, in case you want to build a home, talk about the home site to Pinckney Point.
Well, that's a neat one. That's got a great story. John Cochran in 1695, 1697, had a grant from the king to get 5,000 acres between Charleston and Savannah. So let's say that you had your pick between Charleston and Savannah. Here you go. Off you go. What are you going to do? Yeah. Well, he picked Pinckney Point, that Walker Landing area. And that's a wonderful little neighborhood. It almost looks like Bay Street in Beaufort or Rainbow Row in Charleston, you know, homes lined up on the river on a high bluff. So he was up on this high bluff, well protected, looking across at the mainland, and he built a Indian trading post there. So it was protected from, you know, floods with the high elevation, and also Indian attacks because of the water. You can see everybody coming. So it's the safest home site in Beaufort County.
He was a smart guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So you don't ever have to worry about Indians, you know, when you're right there.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful site. It has a deep water dock there. You can walk, you just walk right over to the fitness center, the pool, the post office, the river house. It's the ultimate inconvenience. The stables are right there. So
What's the size of that lot? Do you know?
it's about half an acre. So you don't have a lot of maintenance.
Not a ton of maintenance, but enough space for some privacy.
Yep, and little picket fence, nice little garden area, you know. So it's just a real different environment from the rest of Spring Island. It's the last remaining home site there. And,
Oh, really?
Yes, and
That's a great spot because the convenience, like you were saying.
yeah.
You can walk to everything.
To the amenities. Speaking of amenities, y'all have got so many here. Every time we come, it seems like we're talking about a new set.
We
of
add a new
amenities.
one.
But there's an event surrounding that topic coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, it's we're having our artist showcase event at the Art Barn, and there'll be over 100 works of art displayed by Spring Island artists.
Okay.
It's just an amazing. That's, you know, like the landscaping, the nature that Carl was talking about, and Tony, but the art community here is just incredible. And so we have all these on display for 3 days,
Okay.
and so it's for Spring Island residents. And this year we're opening it up for 1 day for 2 hours to area real estate agents to come in and just get a sample of why Spring Island is different,
Okay.
why our members are different, how they take themselves from one level from their everyday life, and then when they came here, the things that they've done, you know, done differently.
What's the date on that? On the open house?
It's February the 19th, 20th, and 21st.
Okay. Check the website
Yeah.
for sure.
We'll put it on the ticker.
Well, thank you so much for highlighting another beautiful home and home site for us. It's always a pleasure to talk real estate with you.
Well, thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching 843 TV.
Where communities come to speak.